On July the 17th, 2016, Natasha Ednan Laperouse boarded a flight from Heathrow Airport shortly after eating a baguette which contained sesame. Sesame was not included in the name of the product, and even though the product was pre-packed for direct sale, the law at the time did not require the ingredient information to appear on the product. Natasha was severely allergic to sesame. On board the plane, Natasha started to have an allergic reaction which quickly escalated into anaphylaxis. Her father tried frantically to save her life, but despite the use of 2 EpiPens, she was declared dead at a hospital in France later the same day. Following campaigning, a new law known as Natasha's Law came into effect from October 1, 2021. It requires full ingredient and allergen labelling on all food pre-packed for direct sale, or PPDS. The Food Standards Agency defines PPDS as food that is packaged at the same place it is offered or sold to consumers and is in this packaging before it is ordered or selected. It can include food that consumers select themselves, for example, from a chilled display unit, as well as products kept behind a counter which are sold upon order. Sandwiches, baked goods, salads and pasta pots are some examples of foods pre-packed for direct sale. They are prepared on the same premises as they are sold. If a food business operates more than one retail unit in a single larger premises, food prepared on the premises and sold at any one of those outlets is considered PPDS. PPDS foods must be labelled according to Natasha's Law. Labels need to clearly display the name of the food and ingredients, with emphasis on any presence of the 14 allergens required to be declared by law. These need to satisfy the legal requirements that apply to naming the food and listing ingredients, and be an accurate description of the food. In the event a branded product is used as an ingredient, an accurate description of the ingredient should be listed rather than the brand name. The ingredients list should be titled Ingredients. Each compound ingredient should list its ingredients in brackets, with the most abundant ingredient listed first and the least abundant listed last. Critically, any allergens in the ingredients list should be emphasized in bold, italics, or a different color. If you are buying pre-packed foods for direct sale, for example from a wholesaler, you need to be sure they are labelled correctly. Check all labelling before offering them for sale. You must refer to the Food Standards Agency labelling guidelines for instruction on how to display other information, including weight and volume, best before and use-by dates, and alcoholic strength where applicable. Information on labels must be indelible and difficult to remove. You must print all the mandatory information using a font with a minimum X height of 1.2 mm. Precautionary allergen labelling can be used voluntarily to communicate the risk of the unintentional presence of an allergen in a food product due to the allergen entering the product unintentionally during production through cross-contamination. Precautionary allergen labelling, which normally reads may contain or may contain traces of, should only be used after a thorough risk assessment and hazard analysis and critical control point plan has identified a real risk of cross-contamination, and therefore a potential risk to food allergic or intolerant consumers. The use of precautionary allergen labelling when there is no real risk could be considered misleading. Food that is not PPDS, for example food packed for delivery, should be labelled clearly with allergen information as outlined in Module 5.